Welcome back to Lists 101 with Intelligent Demand. I'm Aaron Owens, Director of RevOps Strategy here at ID, and you are in video 4. This is the last video in our series helping you build your target account list. Now, if you haven't watched videos 1 through 3, I highly recommend you do that first, because in video 1, we talk about defining your total addressable market. In video 2, we talk about defining your broad target account list, and you walk away from video 2 with a list of between 100 and 1,000 accounts. And then in video 3, we take that broad list and we break it down into your tiers and segments, so you know what the relative investment level should be for each of your accounts, how you should approach each of those accounts differently based off of unique messaging and offers that matter most to them. And that brings us into video 4, which is all about prioritization. And what do we mean by prioritization? Well, we are talking specifically about sales prioritization. How do you know within those tiers that you defined in video 3, how do you know which accounts you should be focusing on first? And specifically, how do you know which accounts you should be trying to sell into actively first? Because the reality is that in any of those tiers, while you're going to be engaging everybody to some degree, you're going to have accounts that are in a buying position now, that are more eager to have that conversation, that are going to be easier sales, that are looking at making a buying decision in the near future. And you're going to want to engage with those accounts and invest in those accounts in a very different way than those accounts who are nowhere near making a buying decision and nowhere near being open to a sales conversation. You're still going to engage those other accounts, but you're going to do it in a very different kind of way. And so how do you know which accounts are game for having a sales-focused conversation? How do you know what accounts you should prioritize? Well, there's a lot of different data you can look at, but we're going to look at 4 buckets of data that we think are useful for just about anybody in any use case. So the first bucket of data that we are looking at when trying to prioritize our accounts is contract windows. Now, this may not apply in your scenario, and it's definitely more applicable to technology vendors, but it's true for any kind of a vendor where there is a long-term contract of a year or more that is put in place when your clients hire you or one of your competitors. So what this means is that if you're selling into an account that hired your competitor and signed a 3-year deal 2 months ago, they're probably not going to be open to having a sales conversation anytime in the next couple of years. Knowing that information is really, really useful. However, if you have an account that hired one of your competitors and their contract, is expiring in the next few months, they are probably very eager to have a conversation if there's any sort of dissatisfaction with that current vendor. So knowing those contract windows is a critical piece of the data constellation when prioritizing your accounts. The second piece of data that's really useful is what's called third-party intent. Now, third-party intent comes from various vendors like Bombora, Demandbase. There are some other vendors that are out there as well that look for all of these signals across the internet that try to monitor how your accounts are engaging with different topics, and tries to take all of those signals and determine when your target accounts are researching or talking about certain challenges or certain solution categories more than normal. So for instance, if you're selling accounting software, wouldn't it be nice to know which of your accounts are all of a sudden doing a lot of research on new accounting software? That could potentially indicate that they are in market or considering being in market in the near future. So would be a great candidate for accelerating your investment and prioritizing those accounts. So the third bucket of data is tracked engagement. So this is tracking engagement with your assets. So either your website, your landing pages, your communities, your social media, your ads. And we're going to look at engagement across a few different dimensions. The first dimension we're going to look at is just the amount of engagement. Do you see that an account is clicking more on ads than they used to? They're opening more emails. They are coming to your website more. Just the total aggregate amount of engagement, has that increased? We're also going to look at the value of that engagement. Are they engaging with lower funnel content? Are they engaging with things that indicate that they're looking at comparing you to your competitors, or they're looking for guides on how to install a new accounting software? Any of those things are going to indicate that their engagement is more valuable. Then you want to look at organizational depth. Is it one person at an organization that you're engaging with, or is it a lot of people? Is it just one persona that's engaging, or is it multiple personas on your buying group? Who is engaging? What kinds of people are engaging? That's a little bit harder data to get. You can't necessarily get that from your ad platforms, but there are other places you can get that from your email data, from your website data, if set up correctly. And then we also want to look at decision makers. So knowing the depth, so the number of people, the number of personas we're engaging. Also, are we engaging with those decision makers? If you're only engaging with all of the sort of secondary influencers, but none of the decision makers, that might not indicate that the opportunity is far enough along to warrant prioritization. Or maybe you want to get in there early and help guide that process. That's a great strategic decision as well. But knowing that data is really useful. All of that falls under this tracked engagement bucket. The fourth bucket I want to look at is what we call bridge engagement. So similar to tracked engagement, bridge engagement is looking at certain kinds of engagement. And one great example of this is a high value offer. We're not going to talk a lot about high value offers here, but in our account-based strategies, we generally try to nurture our accounts to a high value offer that serves as a bridge between early engagement and being sales ready. This is something that's valuable. So this might be like a free consulting workshop or a strategic workshop or some sort of customized experience that is valuable to your accounts, whether they're going to buy right now or not, right? It's valuable to everybody. And this serves as a way to deepen your relationship with them. And knowing what accounts have engaged with that bridge content. So somebody signs up for a strategic workshop with you, for instance, or some free consulting or some customized content or some sort of a customized experience, they are going to be more likely to and more open to having a sales conversation, or at least having a conversation about a sales conversation. You could approach them and say, hey, seems like we're super aligned after we had that workshop. Seems like you guys have some very specific challenges you're working through. Would it be worth us having a conversation about how our product might be able to help you overcome some of those challenges or achieve some of those goals? This is a way for you to be able to bridge that conversation with accounts that maybe wouldn't otherwise be open to having a sales conversation. So those are the four buckets of data that we look at: the contract windows, third-party intent, tracked engagement, and bridge engagement. So between those four buckets, you should be able to prioritize accounts within each of your tiers so that your sales team is focused on those accounts that are most ready to have a valuable sales conversation. So that's it. We're at the end of this 4-video series. You should now have a target account list that is prioritized all the way down to specific accounts and represents the best opportunity for your organization to accelerate growth across your entire go-to-market team. Thank you so much. We here at ID are rooting for you as you navigate increasingly complex markets, and we are always here to answer questions and to help you with any of the above or anything related to growing your revenue in strategic and efficient ways.